Right, okay, looks like we're getting some people logging in now. So at 2:05, I think I'll, might as well just start now. So welcome everyone. Welcome to our first webinar of 2019, how to optimize your acquisition strategy to decrease costs and maximize profits. I hope everyone can hear me okay. If there are any issues, you can open up a chat panel and Shanice, our marketing assistant, will drop in and let me know if there's any issues. So quickly, an introduction to who I am. My name's David Adams. I'm the Head of Business Development and Account Management at White Label Dating. I've been here for roughly 8 years and I've spent most of those 8 years in the partnerships team. I've worked with a lot of you in the past who I've seen have registered to this webinar. A few new names, so hi, welcome. I hope this will be insightful for you all. Let's get to it. So looking at the agenda, what will we learn today? We're going to look at how to achieve growth through optimization as a result of data analysis, how to identify traffic that generates ROI and profit. So looking at the ROIs of specific sources via paid campaigns, whether that be through Bing, Google, or indeed any other traffic sources that you want to optimize, and drill down to like a keyword and a placement level to really get to the nitty-gritty of the campaign elements that are working for you. How to identify a perfect member that gives the best return on investment on a site, source, and campaign level. You may have seen recently we sent out via a newsletter an infographic of what our a perfect member may look like, and we can work with all of you individually on creating what that might be for you and your site specifically. So when looking at key analysis, how we achieve this, we're going to be looking at members by age, gender, device and location. We'll look at the member upgrade propensity by all of those characteristics and demographics. We'll look at the rebuild propensity, again, by all of those demographics, and verification as well by those demographics, all by source, campaign, and keyword and placement. So there's a lot we're going to go over today. If you do have any questions throughout, just add them into the Q&A section, and there's a Q&A time slot at the end. So add anything in there, and I'll do my best to answer any of your questions. So before we begin and looking at the analysis side of it, it's worth just recapping how do we currently track our campaigns. So the partner portal, you've all got a login for the partner portal. The campaign tracking is available for all of you. And to refresh that, the campaign tracking, it identifies how a user discovers your site. It shows how traffic converts within your portfolio. It can identify which traffic sources drive good quality members to your sites. You can look at kind of time of the day and day of the week conversions to see whether you should be putting in more traffic at certain times or days of the week. Conversion rate from your traffic sources, of course. And also these two metrics here, which we're going to be talking quite a lot about today, IRPB and TRPB, and that stands for initial revenue per basic and total revenue per basic. Total revenue per basic is the total amount of revenue collected in the lifetime divided by the number of registrations. So you get an idea as to what your max CPL can be in terms to break even. And of course, anything that you spend to acquire less than that will be your profit margin. Initial revenue per basic is a similar metric, but only looks at the revenue collected from the initial transactions. So it gives you an idea as to which sites, campaigns, or sources will give you X amount of a return from the initial transaction alone. So you don't have to wait for those rebuilds to come through, and it allows you to invest faster. Quick reminder as well for where you'll be able to find that, the campaign tracking section in the portal, just in the site report section, along with a number of other reports there. You've got members by location, age range, subscription period. Now, these are all things that we're going to be talking about today, and what we can offer you as an account management team, as opposed to what you can actually extract from the portal as an individual, is a culmination of these reports, which gives you a lot more value and allows you to optimize your traffic a lot more effectively. So another recap, just how to ensure campaign tracking is actually set up correctly. You have access to a campaign URL builder. Now, this is crucial for both the reports in the partner portal, but also the bespoke and custom reports that I'm going to be talking about a little bit later, because all of this data is what feeds directly into our database and allows us to query the effectiveness of campaigns based on all those additional demographic and characteristic-based elements. So you've got the URL there. That's where you'll put the destination that you'll be sending your traffic to. The source, of course, is the source of the traffic. So in this instance, we'll just refer to it as Google. The campaign, that may be, if you may have a campaign dedicated only to London, you would put London in there to reference back to your AdWords or your traffic programs when optimizing. And keyword, it can be a keyword or it can literally just be an additional term that you want to pass into the database. If you do want to pass through the exact search term that a member has typed in, put in their keyword : unspecified in squiggly brackets, and that will capture all of the search terms that somebody may type in, which could trigger one of your ads. So that was a refresh on what you currently use. I'm assuming most of you will be using that on a day-to-day basis. But now we're going to look at something that I refer to as enhanced campaign tracking and answering the question, what more can your account manager offer you? So enhanced campaign tracking is a bespoke report provided by your account manager. It's a lot more detailed than partner portal tracking. It provides data on a member level. So any member that you register to any of your sites with specific sources, campaigns or search terms, and any number of demographic or indeed characteristic-based data on that member level, and it exports data in a kind of raw data format, which you can then turn into meaningful pivot tables. And I've got a few pivot tables in the presentation to show you what they look like if you've never used them before. And there's an upcoming webinar on how to use mass volumes of raw data by utilizing pivot tables to manage such volumes of data. So there'll be an email going out afterwards with a registration link. So keep an eye out for that because it'll be worthwhile. So to answer the question, what could enhanced campaign tracking tell us? And again, we're looking for this perfect member, and the demographic and device-specific analysis that this raw data can export will allow you to do that. First of all, we're going to look at targeting by age. So age-specific campaign analysis is vital to target by age if your sites are niched, or even if they're not niched. You can monitor current age ranges of all members on your sites. You can analyze initial revenue per basic by age range, and you can look at conversion rate by age range. Now, what this allows you to do is ensure that if you've got a certain age range within your site that your landing page or your marketing is attracting, that you're optimizing the entire process from click to eventual pay, rebill, reinitial on our side to those age ranges that have got the highest propensity to pay and stay. So to reiterate those points, why is it important? You've got the ability to tailor ad copy. So that's one of the first things that a user is going to be looking for. Then you can tailor your ad targeting through audience-based targeting. Google offers strong audience-based targeting to really allow you to weed out and not necessarily pay for the traffic that doesn't work, and what will in turn allow you to maximize your investment in the traffic that does work best for you. You can tailor content on your landing pages, and you can tailor ad imagery and indeed landing page imagery to really ensure that you're attracting that perfect member or that group of perfect members. This graph is just an indication really of how age ranges convert and behave differently. Now, I'm sure it's not a massive surprise for a lot of you, but people between the ages of 18 to 30 tend to have quite a low same-day conversion. Now, just to be sure, that's the rate at which basic registrations pay on the same day. And And it's one of the earliest indicators as to how well traffic will perform. If you look further down the line, you've got people between the ages of 50, 60, even up to 70 to 75, and their same day conversion rate is quite high indeed. Now, as expected, as age ranges increase, the volume of available traffic for those age ranges is likely to decrease. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't be going out and targeting those members, because even though there might be less of them, they're definitely of a high value. This kind of data indeed as well can be provided at a site level, at a source level, and even at a campaign level for some of the higher volume partners. So if you want to have a look at that with your partner manager, by all means, reach out. We'll be happy to look at that for you. This next slide is two of these pivot tables that I've referred to as before. Now, these are constructed by taking mass volumes of data and formulating it in a way that's easy to absorb and analyze. And this is kind of mock data that we've taken, split it between males and females to show the difference between how traffic can perform, behave, dependent upon gender, and in this instance, age. So if you look at the top pivot table, some of the best converting age ranges are 41 to 45, but also 51 to 60. And the initial revenue per basic there ranges from £1.30 to almost £2. And if you look at some of the lower age ranges there, you've got 18 to 25s and 26 to 30-year-olds, which are, is attracting a large amount of registrations, talking almost 500 registrations there with only 3 upgrades. So what you can do as marketeers and acquisition experts to limit the amount of people that you attract in that age range is worthwhile, because it will allow you to invest further in those much more profitable age ranges further down the line. And the second pivot table at the bottom paints a very similar story. Young guys don't necessarily pay for dating. And you've got the older demographic there, 51 to 55, 61 to 70, and 76 to 80, really pushing out some high conversion rates, some good initial revenue per basic numbers. This data can be provided for you again for your own portfolio at site level, source, campaign, and so on. This is just an indication as to what level we recommend that you go down to really maximize that ROI and allow you to invest much more aggressively. Next phase is targeting by gender. Gender-specific targeting, analyze our initial revenue per basic by gender, total revenue per basic by gender, conversion rate by gender. The same metrics we're going to look at here, but just with different targeting, different demographics to look at. So why is it important? You can adjust your spend per lead to ensure the right people are registering. You can tailor the ads for the highest converting genders. You can adjust ad copy for the highest converting gender. And you can even create gender-specific campaigns, which I know that some of our partners do, and it works very, very well. We've got 2 pivot tables here, similar format as before, same data, but now we're just looking at whether they're male or female. And you can see that in this particular scenario, you've got initial revenue per basic of £4.10 for females, and initial revenue per basic of £4.35 for males. 25p per basic extra, just over 5 to 6% extra per basic that you're generating there. So any sort of targeting that can be done to attract more males, or even you can probably afford to spend a little bit more to acquire more males, because eventually they are worth more once they register to the platform. Targeting by device. So by targeting by device, consider which device conversions are coming from when building and optimizing campaigns. Some users may register on one device but pay on another, so it's worth considering that. And some networks and niches will perform better on specific devices. So as an example, mature sites on desktop may perform better. Casual sites on mobile may perform better. But there's one overarching rule here, that we never ever make assumptions when it comes to what traffic may or may not do. Let the data lead you into making a decision. Why is this important again? Similar story here, guys. So you can target specific devices for high converting traffic. bid adjustments for certain devices, advertise specific campaigns by high converting devices, make specific bid adjustments by device to maximize return on investment, and optimize landing pages for the majority of your traffic. If you can see that 70 to 80% of your traffic is coming from mobile devices, then any sort of optimizations that you do to your front end, should be mobile first, thinking about, what it's like from a mobile experience to ensure that one element of the conversion funnel is optimized, so then you can then look at the other elements of the funnel on either side of it. What we've got here is, again, another two pivot tables. This time, you've got male and females, mobiles and desktop. And you can see here that on pivot table at the top, you've got desktop, which has an initial revenue per basic of 86p and a conversion rate of 4.36%. Compare that to mobile, you're talking, decent increases of initial revenue per basic there of over 10% and almost double the conversion rate. Likewise for females, desktops perform better. You're getting £1.61 initial revenue per basic versus 67p on mobile. Now, the reason why we split these two pivots out here to show you these two different versions is that if you assume that mobile and desktop are just together, if you were to merge these two data sets, you wouldn't get such a pronounced idea as to the difference of mobile and desktop for females, because you'd be blending it with those figures from the males. So with all of this data, you have to think of it as a much wider picture, include all elements to create what we would refer to as a perfect member. Targeting by location, another important area to consider. Location-based campaign tracking can be undertaken by your partner manager. And this can be used to show you as the partners the rate of which registrations have increased or decreased in certain regions, the value of a member in a certain location, allowing for more precise targeting, and even the opportunities for portfolio expansion with additional sites in particularly profitable areas. If you can see that you've got a generic dating brand such as Just Singles, you may then run a campaign location-based across the UK and then realise that there are certain locations which perform exceptionally well. And if you were to create a location-based version of that brand, it may improve certain metrics along the way in terms of ad click-throughs, in terms of click-to registration rate on the landing page, and even in terms of basic to paid conversion once registrations get through to our end. So, sometimes this analysis doesn't have to stop with just optimizing your current traffic. It can kind of allow you to build the next phase of your strategy when it comes to growing your portfolios. This graph here is just I think is a strong indication of not getting fixated on one metric. Because if we take the blue bars, for example, those are the number of registrations in those locations. And you can see that Lancashire and Dublin are two of the highest volume locations to acquire traffic in. We're talking, just under 350 registrations over a month in each of those locations. And this is, again, just one particular dummy site that we've mocked up this data for. But if you look at the orange line, which is the initial revenue per basic in those territories, or locations rather, it's just over £2. So you're getting a lot of volume, and the initial revenue per basic is not as high as it could be. Whereas on the far left of that graph, you've got the Isle of Man, which has got a really high initial revenue per basic of well over £8, which may excite you and think, let's pile loads into the Isle of Man location. But if you look at the registrations on the blue bar for the Isle of Man, it's very low, which, that kind of volume of data can easily skew these metrics and either get you excited or indeed pull your attention away from an area that it should be in. What I would encourage you to look at is the likes of maybe Cambridgeshire and Berkshire, which is a good mix of medium volume registrations whilst maintaining a quite attractive initial revenue per basic as well. Again, this data can be provided to all of you at a site level, at a campaign level. And this is the level that I I would expect the partner managers to be providing you with, and to really maximise the return that you're getting from the quite aggressive costs when it comes to acquiring dating traffic. Now, this is the level that you need to go to if you really want to start growing aggressively. So I've mentioned it a couple of times, this perfect member infographic, and ultimately it's a kind of a conclusion of all of this analysis. And this is what we've sent out previously. This is the perfect member, and we can look at male and female conversion rates, desktop and mobile conversion rates and initial revenue per basic, and age ranges, conversion rates and initial revenue per basic. We can put this together relatively easily for any partner, whether it be for a site or a portfolio, or even a large scale campaign. It can be done, and it acts as a first layer of the proverbial analysis onion that you need to peel away to reveal the next layer to look at when you're really trying to dig into these campaigns. So the next stage, even deeper into your data, what else can we provide you with? So upgrade propensity when looking at package mix. So just to be clear, when I say package mix, what that means is the ratio of upgrades that fall into each of the packages that are available on our platform. So that's a 1 month, a 3 month, a 6 month, and a 12 month. And it's important to develop a healthy mix of those packages. You don't want to be heavily weighted towards 1 month subscribers, because it will slow down your ability to reinvest faster, because you'll have to be waiting longer to get that initial revenue to be able to reinvest. But likewise, you may not want to be so heavily weighted to 6 month subscriptions because their rebuild propensity may be lower than that of a 1 month subscription. The 6 and 12 months, they do give much higher initial payments, which gives you more money to readily invest. As I said, they may not go into rebuild, which could lower your overall potential revenue per basic over their lifetime. These are the subscription packages. Again, this is how it appears on the payments page, just so you can visualize it. And just to be clear, we can provide this data on a source, campaign, and keyword level. All of this data is available at that level. So if you've got a particular campaign and it's got massive amounts of 1 month subscribers, and you're questioning why after 6 months it may be performing better than those that have a massive amount of 6 month subscribers, then it is likely to be because that the 1 month over 6 months, if it continues to rebuild, is worth more than 1 6 month subscription. So this kind of level of analysis is crucial. Rebuild propensity, that's another thing that we can provide you with. It's as important to focus on rebuild as initial revenue. Initial revenue allows you to reinvest faster, but rebuild will be where the full return will come through versus your CPL. The campaign tracking report can detail to you the sources and campaigns which have the highest propensity to rebuild, thus potentially providing a greater ROI. And also, this is something that I think is very important for you guys as partners. Looking historically will allow your partner manager to provide you with a time-based ROI. So what that means is you can work out how much is generated by month 3 since they first paid, by month 6 since they first paid, and then by month 12 since they first paid, allowing you to focus your efforts and investment on the most cash generative campaigns. We all want to grow, and sometimes it's a cash flow issue. So if it is a cash flow issue for you as an individual, then focus on those campaigns that give you the highest return in the shortest amount of time, and then you'll be able to grow, as I say, aggressively. And finally, verification. We've got a member engagement team here, and they're dedicated to keeping on-site activity flowing, helping to upgrade and retain members. And they can't really come into the fold unless the member verifies. And verification rate is the first marker as to whether a member has a high propensity to upgrade. During high periods of or during periods of high volume acquisition, this can be an early warning sign to low performing traffic further down the road. Now, if you're talking maybe 5, 6, maybe even 1,000 registrations a day, they may not convert for 3 or 4 or 5 days. And verification rate can be an early indicator, because it typically happens within the first 2 to 3 hours, to what chance there is of those members actually upgrading further down the line, because you don't want to be 5, 10, 15 days down the line thinking, you know, by day 14 they may hit that conversion percentage that I need. Look for these early indicators to what the best performing traffic is that you do actually have. You know, ultimately it's important to drive traffic that's going to verify, otherwise we can't contact them, we can't get them back to the site and encourage them to upgrade. Ultimately, driving traffic from sources that have a higher verification rate will boost revenues and profits. So, key takeaways from today. Not all traffic behaves the same. This will vary per site, source, campaign, and even keyword. I'm going to say it again, never ever make assumptions when it comes to what you think traffic might be doing. You have to let the data lead the way and guide your next steps. Even if that comes down to split testing, it's absolutely crucial. You know, use these bespoke data reports to reduce costs. Request them from your account manager. You know, we're on hand all the time to help you guys grow your businesses. And if we're providing you data that's great and it's handy, then, you know, let us know. But if it's not exactly what you need, then please, you know, do tell us, because ultimately, not to sound too cheesy, but our success is rooted in your success. Finally, target members that bring you the best ROI, obviously. Increase spend on those that you can afford to and reduce spend on those that you can't. Okay, so I didn't whiz through that too quickly. Q&A time now. Just going to get into my Q&A box and see if anyone has put a question in there. Okay, question there from Matt. How long does each age range stay on as a paying member? I mean, that's one of those questions, Matt, that's going to vary massively, dependent on territory, dependent on niche, sites, even campaigns. You know, if you've got a campaign that truly sells exactly what they're going to be getting when that user hits the platform, then they're likely to stay for longer than if an advertising campaign may have overpromised what it might have been delivering by the time the user actually registers. But it's a very interesting metric, and one which I'm sure we'll be able to work out for you, and indeed maybe include in a webinar in the future. Yeah, definitely, Matt. I couldn't agree more. So it would be interesting to see stats by country, general and adult. And you know, guys, if you're working in emerging territories, or you've got some smaller sites that might not necessarily have large volumes of data, then please don't think you can't contact us and ask for guidance. You know, we've got a platform's worth of data here that we can anonymize and at least provide some very high level insights for you to help you shape your strategies. Question there from Daniel Jones. Does verification always indicate a propensity to pay? Broadly, yes. When we look at those members who verify, the number of conversions which happen across the platform, maybe 90% of them come from users who have verified. So it is an indicator. It's not, you know, I've seen in the past that those that don't verify do pay. But broadly, verification is a leader into upgrading. Follow-on question there from Daniel. Will this vary from adult to general due to the nature of some adult sites? For sure. Some people, or some users rather, may not want to verify. And in my experience, of those 10% of conversions that do happen but haven't verified, the majority of them do come from the casual side of the business. And finally, one there from Leslie: what is the best way to send traffic that will verify? High quality traffic tends to verify the best and therefore pay the best. When I say high quality, I mean users who have actively searched out your brand or your service offering, whether it be a niche site. So my honest answer there is paid search from search engines and organic results as well. Any other questions? Just take one more if there's there. Any tips on encouraging members to verify on-site copy? Yeah, so Matt Adams, yeah, another one. Any tips on encouraging members to verify in terms of on-site copy, buttons, images? It's never really been done before, having on partner landing pages encouragement for users to verify. But I have seen in the past, having on your landing page a very upfront approach to what the true user experience would be like. For example, advising the user from the point of registration that it is a premium service that will require a subscription, has led to higher upgrades in the past when we've split test some landing pages. So it's definitely worth looking at and seeing whether the same logic can be transferred across to verification. All right, so that's half an hour, so wrapping it up there. Oh, sorry, I was expecting I was expecting a final slide. So that's it then, guys. Any further questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to either myself personally or any of your account managers. They'll all be on hand to help you guys out, and I look forward to the next one. Thanks very much.